And we're live. It's Whiskey Watches Wheels, and I am the Reverend Matthew Green. We have a very special guest tonight. Casey's not with us, but we have picked up two guys off the side of the road. So I don't know them. James and Kevin does. So guys, introduce yourselves and introduce your friends.
I'm James.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Jaime.
Wow, you guys are super enthusiastic. Well, I'm Ernie.
I was enthusiastic. These guys are like, rock
and then we went right after that.
Well, welcome to the story of our podcast. Yeah.
Just introduce yourself, and then we'll get going and shoot the shit.
They did.
I'm Ernie.
Yeah,
All
right.
Florida.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm Jaime from South Florida as well, Miami. Part of the Porsche crew down here in the 305. For you guys that have been down here with us.
Yeah, so Ernie and Jaime are part of the Miami crew, which we've mentioned a number of times. So there's a few others that are part of that crew, but Jaime and Ernie have been, I guess, foundational in that as far as the rallies go that we've been on together. How many have we done, guys?
Wow.
So so we were just talking about that, and I guess we all met in 19. If that was it was
22.
Yeah.
23, 24.
So this is going to be my 8th straight Targa Carolina without missing. I'm doing
Okay.
So that's 7 with you guys will be this year. And then we've done some ruckus. We've done some other stuff together. So It's getting close to 10 or 12 rallies together.
Yes, and then I remember, Ernie, you came up and we did that run to Atlanta.
Yeah, we went to
As
that
well.
blue pop-up.
Yeah.
we did Highlands together. We've done quite a bit, actually. Believe it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, Jaime, thanks for being a listener. Ernie, you're going to have to catch up.
I'm working on it.
I didn't realize Jaime was a listener. Thank you.
Oh, he's one of our biggest fans.
I love it.
Yeah, each week I get some kind of a note saying how bad I sucked on the podcast.
On the storytelling, not the podcast, just the storytelling.
Well, I don't have many
So
stories.
it's all of us then.
Yeah.
I think we all do that.
Kevin.
Now you're having meetings behind James's back. That's what I'm talking about. I'll
Yeah,
call
that's
you
okay.
later. We got more to talk about, Kevin.
And this is normally what happens, Matt, when we all get together. It's just one big laugh, and have fun.
That's what it's about. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Drive
Kevin,
fast.
you've been with us since when? 2019 DRT?
19, yeah.
Came down with a P-car group?
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, Kevin through Mike.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Aaron, yeah, I remember.
And
So we
then,
still talk- we still talk to-
David.
Yeah.
I was just-
Dave and I went down the DRT that year as well, but I didn't know Kevin at that point. So we were at the track day, but we didn't bring a car to run. We were just hanging out. So
We knew each other already.
yeah, because
I think you guys met them. You guys met them at. Well, Ernie, you just got your car, so you met probably James when we were talking offline that September.
Yep.
So I had met him first, not to brag, and then
About our other men.
and then he met you guys at Targa Carolina since September or whatever. And I only had a air water cooled, so I'm fairly new to the air cooled. I mean, I'm going strong, but you guys definitely what you guys do and how much fun you guys had, and from meeting James and Dave and stuff like that. And it's a different crowd, wouldn't you say, in a different type of rally, the air cooled versus a water cooled. And I don't know if you guys do have water cooled too as well, right? So,
Yeah,
we have.
we are not both currently without water cooled at the moment.
okay.
Why is that?
I sold the 996, and I just haven't found the next GT3.
And I sold the GT3, and I'm looking for a GT4 RS. I'm just wanting to jump off the deep end and go way faster.
There you go.
Or
Yeah,
you could say
so-
I'm a cool snob,
Well, Ernie,
I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that one on that.
when did you get rid of that GT3? Because that was a nice car.
So I sold my GT3, which was a 991.1 of 2015. It was in June of 23.
Okay.
I got a good offer for it. The market held on it. It hadn't started to go south. I was worried about the economy. And I got all my money and a little bit out of it, which is a home run.
Nice.
That
Well,
kinda track it for 2 years, and just enjoy and drive the wheels off of it.
Yep.
I think I went to the tires in 2 years. Is that good?
I did ride in it when we went down the DRT, I guess our second DRT that we went down to. So it was a nice car.
So Ernie, can you tell us what kind of car you currently have here? Because, you know, we talk and everyone's just listening, but they don't they don't know what we drive and stuff. Some of us, they do because they're listeners and they know us personally. But for some of the listeners out there, both you guys actually have a very unique car. But Ernie or Jaime, I don't care who goes first. You want to describe your car and some of the work that you've done? Because I know both of you guys have done extensive works to your air cools. So.
Absolutely. And she's right there. She's literally 2 feet from us. So she's here. So she's a 1978 911 SC Targa, narrow body, that I happened to find on Bring a Trader. And it was had been owned by 2 guys at the time in its lifetime. And they were out of Northern California. And these guys, like, I think about them as like pioneers in the outlaw game. Because what a lot of people don't know is that my car was featured in Excellence magazine in 1999 as an outlaw build. And I have the magazine. It was the centerfold of it. It was called DIY Guy because this guy, Gary Griffiths, was a legend in Northern California, PCA. He built this car. He just came up with it. He owned the 1978 Targa, and he said, well, I'm going to big motor, big brake, and I'm going to put a big transmission in it, and we're going to go fast. And everybody told him he couldn't do it. So he got with Jim Patrick at Patrick Motorsports. They sourced a 1995 993 motor. They boarded out the 3.8 liters and built the motor. Then they built a short bell housing G50 6-speed custom transmission for the car, which is something that's really wild out there. Mm-hmm. A lot of people hear that and they're like, what did you just say? I said, yep, that's it. They built a special short bell housing G50 6-speed. They still had to pound out my tonneau a little bit, and that's really the only modification that I have. But they were able to get all that along with big red brakes all the way around, and obviously a 1999 suspension. So that's basically what I bought in a boy racerish look. And then I went about, just making it bougie, as the boys say. They say my car's too pretty and I fuss over it too much. But at the end of the day, I drive the wheels off of it too. So I'm good with that reputation. So then I just, turned it into more of a gentleman's racer, made it period correct on the inside with Houndstooth Pepita. We redid the suspension in 2021. We were able to put a JRZ Procom 3 suspension in it. So she's sitting on full coilovers. And she sits on 18-inch by 10-inch wheels in the back and 18 by 8s in the front. So she's a
narrow body
on a narrow body car with a big motor in it. So it's a quirky but very cool car, and you can drive the wheels off of her. She just loves to be run on.
It is a beautiful car. I see it all the time in my rear view, but it's nice.
He's right.
He wrote that one down, by the way.
And he's been waiting all night to say that. Bravo, Jamesy. Bravo.
He's got a little cheat sheet of jokes he's looking at off camera.
Yeah. But listen, this guy's no slouch. Wait till he tells you what's sitting in his garage right now.
Yeah, so I'll start. So I met this car in 2016. I knew the owner of this car. This guy was actually friends with my dad. His name was Larry. And I have this thing for yellow cars. At the time, I had a yellow 996, which was really nice. And I transitioned from that to a 993. And I told him, hey, if you ever want to sell the car, let me know. And I went through a couple of SCs and a couple of Outlaw. I had a really cool Outlaw SC Silver, which was a really cool car.
That was a nice car.
And he calls me one day and he says, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm going to sell the car. And I said, I need you to give me a minute, so I could put some stuff together and get this car in, which he was happy to do. And we made the deal happen in about 30 days. So, all good. I bought the car when, the prices were still kind of on the, they were still on the upswing. So I got a pretty good deal, but it was a standard 3.2 wide body Carrera.
It was an M491.
M491 with a, 3.2. It had big brakes. They put bigger brakes so that it has 928 S4 brakes in the rear, in the front, 964 turbo brakes in the rear. Kind of Corky that they did that. Regular 915 transmission, and I ran it. Well, I didn't run it. First thing I did people called me crazy. Is I stripped the bumpers off and the rockers, and I made it kind of like an IROC look, even though the car was perfect the way it was. And that was, I kind of wanted a little bit of weight savings on the car. I changed the rims, and I did just minor stuff to it. I changed the hood, and I got those rally hood lights that I had been wanting. And then I started chasing a motor for a couple of years, and then recently, so in the last, I think, year, right? So probably
last year, 2024, early
right before 2024, right before the rally, a couple months. It had been some months because I had run into some issues. I finally got a 993 motor, and then I went down that rabbit hole of let's get an RS flywheel, clutch, cams. Let's do a new limited slip because that one was worn out.
Don't forget your worm.
Yes,
the worm, the famous worm,
the worm alternator with a wasp alternator, serpentine belt so that it doesn't come off, that kind of thing. So just kind of like some just kind of like some I wouldn't call them boy racer touches, but some nice for purpose upgrades on the car. And it's an involvement, right? So my car purely every goal for it is to rally the car. That's what I every year that I come back. I say, all right, I got 8 months to do 3 things I'm going to check off my my list, and it's just, for me, it's just never ending. I'm chasing a new set of rims right now. I think it's time for me to upgrade the rims and trying to get that done before Targa. I don't know if I'll get it done with Ruckus.
Is that your big thing this year? Because it's true. There's always something every year. You're like, okay, yeah, here's the big thing.
Well, I'm going to do 2 things. One is I'm going to do a new brake booster. I'm going to upgrade the brake booster. But I bought that, so that's ready to go. And I'm going to change the rims.
Nice.
I bought, at the time I had just done a bunch of stuff to the car, and the rims, those maxi lights, they're relatively inexpensive. So I put them on. I was never really fully happy with the look, but they fill the void, that Fuchs look.
Right.
But now I'm gonna probably go with Fisky, like what the Singers bring is what I'm going for. But it's got a number attached to that, right? So
Oh yeah.
Big bucks, baby.
So I have a question. How hard is it to do a 3.6 for the listeners out there? A lot of people, they want to go big motor, bore out a 3.2. For price, would it be advantageous just to find a 3.6 motor, or are there a lot of pieces to that puzzle to do that swap?
Man, so I was always the guy who was wondering, how does it take somebody 7 months to swap a motor? Okay. And I made it to the point where, like, all right, we all know, I know James and Kevin, you guys know Pedro. Pedro got the motor, out of a beautiful 993, low miles. I called him up and he said, you want to drive the car? Because I still have the motor in the car. Car's perfect. I said, no, just let me know when you want to take it out and I'll pick it up. And I bought all the parts from Patrick Motorsports. The day I picked up the motor, I ordered all the parts. So it wasn't like I was waiting on parts from my mechanic, but man, it took time. And I can't even blame my guy the whole time. Something's always like, man, I got to make this piece. Kevin, like even something simple like the AC, I had to reroute the lines. I remember, and that was, if you don't know, you got to chase that down. And you get on the forums and you find out. Then before you know it, another week went by. Then you order the piece. Another week went by to get it. 2 weeks becomes 4 weeks. It spiraled for me. It took me like 7 months. And then I had to tweak it.
Yeah, you got to drive it, shake it down. We brought it back in, did some more modifications.
Yeah.
And then you had to miss a rally because of it, correct?
I did.
Yep.
I did because I couldn't get the right fuel pressure on the car and it would die on me. I missed Ruckus.
Yeah.
No, Texas.
Texas, yeah. You were supposed to go to Texas last year.
To go to Texas.
Kind of had issues right before as you were shaking it down, right?
So there are a lot of parts that you have to do and make sure you have the right combination of parts. Like I just heard you saying that you have to get a special serpentine or a belt pulley because
I did. Those were stuff that I wanted just to, when you're out there on these rallies, right? One of the things I think probably all of us think about, maybe some guys don't think about it, but I'm kind of anal with that kind of stuff. Is, man, you're out there, you're in the middle of nowhere, like, and I don't want to be waiting for a tow truck, 4 or 5 hours. So, I try to limit.
You can't get a belt or stuff from AutoZone or
No.
even Porsche for that matter. A lot of these places don't even have those parts.
Correct.
Yeah.
But most guys all run with belts in our cars for that
Right.
reason. And you never know when that hairpin's going to sneak up on you, and you got to drop a hard downshift that you really weren't expecting, and then something pops in the back. So, we carry all that stuff around, and now there's advances that are allowing us to not have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So he's done that modification, which is a serpentine to his car, which is going now I'm waiting on parts. It's going in my car next month before I go to Ruckus.
Okay.
Nice. So another question on the motor. You both have big motors. How much of the motor are you really using out there? Right. So are you looking at it for the low end grunt to get up and going? Or, a lot of times we're in the mountains and you're not going to use it. Right. But, you're Florida, long straights, high speed. Are you using it there? Are you it's just nice to have in the back pocket?
So you go first. You want to go?
Let me talk. I'm the savage. I'm the one that drops hammer all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the top of my motor. I drive a 78 Targa. Yeah, she sits on a full race suspension with brake brakes and everything. But once I blow 125, 130 miles an hour, it does not feel good. Right. At least I'm not comfortable. I don't need to be doing that. I don't have a race suit on. I don't have a helmet on 99% of the time because I don't track this car. So I haven't seen that top of that motor, Kevin, in response to you. Where I have fun with it is like James will tell you, when you're not born from the mountains or you don't live around the mountains like us Cuban folks down here in the South, we're used to flat tops. So I definitely don't have the agility in those mountains that they have. But I don't stay far behind because I have such power on the low end that, the minute he gets away from me, I can get right back on him until we start getting squirrely again. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I haven't seen the top of my motor at all. I know she can keep going. I've been there and she'll keep going. I just lift.
And do any of you guys have different gearing, or is it all stock OEM gears? Like hill climb gears?
He has a 993 G50, so he's geared differently than.
That's right.
We're geared completely different.
I'm a 915 stock. Actually, the next, we were just talking about the evolution and the upgrades that you do. I'm rebuilding the transmission. The car was supposed to go in today, and I just had work and I couldn't. But I'm taking it tomorrow, and I'm going to rebuild second gear for sure. I've been having, I wouldn't say issues, but it's not going in great. And I know that once he opens it, he's going to tell me the slider probably needs to be replaced. So it may not be a full rebuild, but I'm doing that. And I'll just circle back for a second on the big motor and live in what is a straight line town, right? We are surprisingly, we have a very big air cooled community, but everywhere we drive is in traffic, or a straight line. But we don't really have any curves. But I will say that I chased James and Dave and Ernie with a 3.2, and nothing wrong with the 3.2. I mean, it's a great motor. What it gives me is I don't have to be that great of a driver because that low end torque gives me that extra oomph, and it just makes it easier to catch up. It feels like you're driving. It feels a little easier. That's really what I feel. So I wouldn't say like my top end is a big difference. I could do 100 on my 3.2, same way I could do 100 on my 3.6. But that low end torque, or you're really coming into a tight turn and
switchback,
and you're going uphill. It's smooth.
Those are the killer. Those are the killer, even for a 3.2.
Yeah.
Is that?
Oh no,
that,
I would feel it.
Yeah. So
and I find myself that I'm more in second and third gear, where a guy who has a 3.6 or 3.8, sometimes they have to shift into a fourth gear.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm always usually in second gear, going to third gear. And then sometimes I see some of the other guys, I hear them because their cars, a lot louder than mine. And they're going into that fourth gear. And I don't know if that's maybe because the transmission they're using, especially like 964 guys, G50 guys, I don't know, but I'm always in like second gear. and then third. That's pretty much it. I mean, I don't really
Yeah,
go into.
you're not touching fourth too many times in the
Right.
mountains at all. Yeah. So,
Long
yeah,
stretches only.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah. So that's about our car. Yeah.
That's
Tell
it.
them
So
about
do
your
you-
other car.
The 993.
Yeah, tell them about your other
So
car.
I have a 90.
Tell them about your red-headed stepchild that you've neglected lately.
I
You remember? You want me to tell them, or you remember?
I have a 95 993. Also a big motor. It's got a 3.8. It's about as close to an RS spec car that I'm gonna get to. You know, it's basically it's an RS clone is what I've made it. You know, Patrick Motorsports built motor. It's got BBS LMs, pretty cool, midnight blue. And he's right. I haven't driven it probably in about, I'd say, about a year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Honesty
Well,
is the best policy.
Wow.
I think the first Target Carolina you were driving that.
Did.
Where
Yes.
we met you. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was
You
your
met him in that car.
We met in that car.
Yes.
I remember
Yeah.
being with you guys, and I say to myself, like, oh, if this is gonna be easy.
And the car's insane. He's got a problem with yellow. He falls in love really
Right.
hard.
Yeah.
And he fell in love and he dropped blue like
Well,
bad habit. Like,
but
it's just there. Like, I feel bad for the car.
I am sure you're having way more fun in the yellow car than you are in the 993,
Yeah.
right? Because
But not everybody, but some guys, right? They subscribe to, this is my soul car, right? Not everybody has to subscribe to that. There's a lot of guys that can just jump into any car. I'm not one of those guys. So that's my soul car. And I knew it from the first time that I saw it. And like I told you guys, I knew the owner. And you're right. You know, 9 out of 10, I jump in the garage and yellow car's going with me wherever.
right,
You know?
right. Well, we all know that there's a big difference between that 915 and that G50. Now, I've never driven Ernie's car with the G50 as far as how it's geared, but it just seems like the 915, I'm working way harder
Oh,
than if
100%.
you know. So, do you feel, Ernie? Do you feel cheated at all based on having the G50 as far as it easier, or you're good with it? It's just, because the 915.
I've never had a 915.
Okay.
My air cooled. When I jumped in the deep end of the air cooled pool, I opened it up with a 964. So I started with a G50, right, and I kept going with a G50.
Got it.
So I've never rallied a 915. We'd have to swap car. Maybe we'll swap cars at Ruckus. You down?
Right. Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah. Oh, always.
Take
always.
my car.
It would be interesting because I just see that
you're not losing anybody. Don't worry. It will come back up.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You're good.
So their internet will pick up. You guys can keep on talking.
No.
Yeah, you're good.
You're fine.
So
can
you hear us? So just keep on talking and don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, just keep on talking and it knows what to do. So it's not freezing up.
All right, good.
Yeah.
You all went like this.
Right when he told James to switch cars, James froze.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, you don't want to switch cars? We won't switch cars.
I'm scared.
No, it'll keep buffering, but it'll pan out in the end. It's fine.
So how many? How about this? Driving your 993, Jaime, to your 915, big difference in transmission?
Oh yeah, it is. And as a, I say this in fun, right? But I when guys bring a 993 to a rally, the first thing I say is like, man, that's too easy.
Yeah.
You know?
He makes fun of him. He makes fun of him.
Yep.
He was nice there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not shifting, right? You're just not shifting. You've got enough of the low end torque in third gear to just do everything, right?
Well, I mean, James, look, and Kevin, and even Ernie, we don't have power steering, dude. You come out of that day, it's a full, it's a full day's work, right? You come back to that bar and you're like, I need that beer, man. I've been out there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we didn't look, I took the 993 to.
We did it. We did our first target.
I did a couple rallies with the 993.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did our first target with my 964 and your 993.
Yeah. And I loved it. I loved the 993. But thinking back, it was kind of easy.
Right.
It was kind of power brakes. Maybe not
then
traction
you throw
control, but
right. And you throw the 915 in there now, and then you're really sore at the end of the day after dealing with that.
Or even Ernie's car, or I've seen James come in hot, and And Kevin, we haven't run together in a rally, but I'm sure we will.
Yeah, for sure.
They're a lot of fun, these cars. Absolutely.
So, you know how James and Dave is kind of the couple? You see James, you see Dave, and you guys are kind of the couple too. How long have you guys known each other? And did you know each other through Porsches, or have you known each other before that?
We've known each other since elementary school.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, since elementary school.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Before. We've been through Hondas, CRXs.
We've been through the whole gamut.
Yugos. We had Yugos for a while.
We used to tear up the scene in Miami. His dad got a Yugo dealership, and then the mistake of us at 18, we could take whatever we wanted every weekend. We ripped the wheels off the Yugos.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
it's funny because one of my employees who does all my graphic designer, he's from Slovenia, so. Yeah. We talk about the Yugos and how we had them here, and he talks about how they were pieces of crap. And I send him. Sometimes you see somebody with one, and they still have the club, because I guess they're pretty easy to steal. Yep. I'll send him a picture of it. So you guys have been friends for that long time, huh? And through everything.
Body shop back then, the car dealership, a Porsche in the garage. We used to go hang out. We used to hang out in the garage with his dad's friends. Grew up through that, and your dad gave you a Fiat for us to build, right? We had to rebuild the whole Fiat convertible.
Yeah.
And we wanted it nice. We had to do all the work ourselves.
Yeah.
So going after school to his dad's body shop and stuff like that, we did paint interior with everybody there.
Yeah.
And it was midnight blue with a tan interior. We were the hottest guy. Like, we were popping on the scene. Convertible, the sweater, the polo, like thinking we were cool, going cruising the Grove.
Yeah. Multiple collars.
Together. That's where I learned to drive stick in that car.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. A lot of years.
I learned to drive stick in that car when we were like 15 years old.
Yeah.
So then, who got the Porsche first?
I did.
Hayden.
I did. I went through. I've always been tinkering cars. My dad was a hardcore Porsche guy. I grew up in a fortunate neighborhood that my neighborhood had a lot of Porsche guys in it, and by meaning that, back then there were a lot of grassroots racers. So like my backdoor neighbor, which guy was friends with my dad, had two RSR Carreras that were running the Daytona 24 Sebring. So I was glued into Porsche pretty hardcore. When I was in, I think it was 8th grade, my dad picked me up from school. I thought I was in trouble because they called me to the office, and it was a friend of his had just gotten a 962, and he was running it at a racetrack here in West Palm Beach at Moroso, and they were run on a random Wednesday, And I said, "What happened?" He said, "Oh, so and so just got a 962. We're going to go to the track and watch them run."
That's awesome.
And I was a 15-year-old schmuck.
And then the Grand Prix of Miami was going on at the time. My uncle was involved with Emerson Fittipaldi and his team, and Ralph Sanchez, who was the founder of racing here in South Florida. I was friends with both our parents, and we were able to go, and we were kids in the pits at the Grand Prix of Miami with the low-end brow cars and all the famous cars. I was standing next to them, touching them, and that fueled my passion for racing. And I've always been a freak of racing since that point. And then when we'd sit in the Perry Ellis VIP, and here we are.
You guys never, since Miami's so big, and especially in the 90s and early 2000s, is very big for Porsches for drag racing. Did you guys ever get into, because I know so many guys that had, I think even RMC's got one of the old record setters for quarter mile. Did you guys ever get into the drag racing?
I did not. That wasn't my thing. I
street raced, but it was a Honda.
Yeah.
It was a Honda Jackson Racing CRX.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I did race because I just love to race. I love the edge. In case people don't know
I was not a quarter mile guy at all. I was a track guy for me. But it wasn't like I would still go to the quarter mile track. It just wasn't something I did. And
then later on, you got a 944, and you were club racing a 944.
I got a 914. My first air cooled car was a 914.
That one.
Yes.
There you go, Matt.
Yeah, and it was great actually. And I bought it for $500. And the guy says to me, he said, "I wanted $1,000." And I said, "Man, I can't pay you $1,000." He says, I give you 500. He says, well, the clutch is stuck. I said, what do you mean it's stuck? He says, well, it's on the floor. And so I pay you $500. And he goes, well, you pay me $500. You got to take it today. So, of course, I called my dad, had a tow truck in the corner. Hey, we got the car picked up, took it home. Wasn't sure what I was going to do, but it was sure enough. Here's a Saturday. I don't got a ton of money, so we're going to figure this thing out ourselves. I think I had a cousin over or something, and I tell him, I'm going to put the car in second gear. I'm going to start it and see if it starts. And sure enough, it starts in second gear. I get the car running around the block. I hit the first corner, and the clutch pops out. Boop. Good to go.
Fixed.
No problem. You
yeah,
know?
so the spring, the little thing, it gets caught in the tunnel on the because it's like a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And I sold that one, and then
You made a profit.
Yeah, I got a 944, and I started doing PCA driver's eds. Back then, this was in 90.
The 90s, for sure.
98, something like that. And then PCA would do like a stock class for 944s, and I got into that, and then I went I sold that car. I had an MGB GT, sold that, and then I went 16 years with no cars.
We were broke.
That was definitely.
We were broke. We were broke. Let's call them spade a spade.
Yeah.
Broke.
I had 2 kids in private school,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just trying to make it.
No time for that. No money and no time.
Yeah, both starting businesses, right?
Yeah.
That's
correct.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
that's awesome. And then, what businesses? What line of work are you guys doing?
Yeah.
A little bit of this.
I'm a partner in a mechanical engineering firm that specializes in healthcare work. So
Okay.
we do, the nuts and bolts of it is really kind of healthcare, central energy plants, and the AC that runs in ORs and in hospitals. Sort of a niche.
And my house, of course,
Yeah,
as well.
I got to do it.
He does my house.
Like we're sitting in his garage. And
It's freezing in here, man.
I love it.
So yeah,
Awesome.
and then I'm a former banker that burnt out in 2005 and didn't want to bank anymore and didn't want to wear a tie anymore. And in 2006 I completely walked away from it. And I started fishing, and I was fishing, and somebody told me I should sell boats for a living. And I went on to have a wonderful yacht brokerage career for the last 17, 18 years. And I've also stayed dabbling in real estate. I am a luxury real estate broker in the Florida Keys and Miami. So I pretty much sell. I sell boats. I sell houses. I sell a lifestyle.
And
There you
now
go.
you're a social media star, because I like your videos on Instagram. And if you guys don't know, you should follow him, because he gives a lot of history on the Florida canals, the boating and stuff like that. I've never seen somebody like you were given the ones with the toilets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've been there before, but a lot of people don't know some of the little quirks. Or for instance, hey, if you drive past this, yes, if you're local, you know that. You should know that anyways. But hey, if you go into this coral, you're going to get popped. Oh, you can't do this. So I know you were doing them, and now your real estate thing's taking off. But those were fun to watch. That, yeah, oh man, that's pretty cool. He's giving educational stuff.
And that's the best feedback we get, which is people love the history. We have a ton of stuff in the can. It's just the
Time.
work gets in the way, man. Work gets in the way.
Amen, brother.
Post what I have to sell, and I
Yeah.
can't put my history stuff. But to that, Kevin, yeah, believe it or not, one of the calls I get the most is from even locals who say, I kind of knew the story of that. I've been going to the Keys my whole life and seen you there, but I never told my kids. And the way you told it, now my kids know it. So it's a lot of fun, and we got a lot of that stuff coming this year. So it's in the
Yes.
can. We'll get it out there soon.
Plus the history of Hawk Tua, right?
Well, that's my friend. That's how you go viral.
That went viral.
That's how you go viral.
Yeah.
That's
That was
how
a good
I
one, though.
got
I give him that.
Man, boy, do I keep trying to hit that note again.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
So
you look at Cletus McFarland, that guy's my idol. Cletus, if you're listening to this, you're my idol, dude. When I grow up, I want to be like you. That guy drops one like that every other month. But
100%. I just shared a video of him to the guys in our group chat earlier today. So
he's
yesterday.
awesome. I think he's great. I'd love to meet him and do some stuff with him. But he's
Well,
a good guy. He's living the dream. And God
Yeah.
bless that we can all do this. And we've done well enough in business to be able to sit here and talk to each other and tell people our stories and get them out to people that may otherwise may not know these things or hear these things. So we're really
That's awesome.
blessed to be able to do this.
So Jaime and Ernie, go ahead, James. You had another question?
I was just going to say, as you're telling the story here, it's hard for me to imagine you wearing a tie for 9 to 5.
Oh, I was full on every day.
Not only that, but I'll tell you this. So, I mean, we're tight. I mean, we hung out a lot, right? He was full tie till, I mean, in that time, right? We were in the mix of growing our businesses. I mean, you're out, you're networking
events every night.
Ernie would not loosen his tie. I mean, I'm talking about like, dude, it's 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock at night. Dude, you're just with the boys. He's like, no, man, tie stays on.
Nothing changed.
Full Windsor 24/7.
Same thing with my car. I do the same thing with my car now. I get home, I wash it, I wipe the windows. Gotta look good if you're gonna sell, and I'm selling.
So was it
this thing off? I'm like, he's like, no, man, you gotta leave it on.
Was it a Pepita tie?
That's true.
It's true.
So I have a question for you guys. Since you guys have been in the scene for such a long time, and you guys have definitely seen it grow, and you're seeing a lot of people doing builds and stuff like that, and the Singer coming out, Gunther Works, and all these other. Have you guys ever thought, hey, I would love to have this car? Because I was just talking to a client today, and we were talking about a lot of Singers and a lot of these Gunther Works cars, and how they don't get driven. You know, they're like a blue chip car that sits there. And I know you guys are in South Miami, and you guys see a lot of these cars, and it's more like a flash, or have you guys ever thought about, oh yeah, I would have one of those cars? Or you guys, and I know you guys are drivers, are you guys building your ultimate car currently right now as you guys see it? Or do you guys think, man, I would love to build like a, I don't know, Singer or a Gunther Works or something like that?
We've been talking about all this a lot lately.
I'll tell you what I think.
Hot topic lately.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think. Well, and it'll go too, and I don't want to be too long-winded about it. And you guys know I'm really good friends with Al, who's the owner, partner at SWEC. And I've been lucky enough to see a lot of people that have these cars, and I would say some of them do use them. You know, they're not just museum pieces. Maybe they don't use them in the same way that I want to use the car. And that goes to your question: am I building my perfect car? I'm building the car that is within my means and budget for the best of what I want to use it for. It's my car, my rules, right? And just like I say to other people, man, it's your car, your rules. This is what you want to do to it. More power to you. I respect it. So that's the way I answer that. I'm building my dream car. I don't know that I'll ever finish it as far as the yellow car. I don't know, who knows if 6 months from now I just wake up and I say, you know what, I'm done with it. Let's sell it and I'll start something different. But that's my answer to that. And then just to go back, I have seen Singers, I have seen Gunther work cars. I've probably seen a lot of them with their owners. Ernie and I both have been lucky enough to go to the what's the Opelika track? Concourse Club, which is a private track, members only, and we've been lucky to get in and see a lot of those cars run on that track. So you can't really say guys don't use them, and there are probably plenty of guys that don't use them, but there's guys that do run them. Yeah.
So, and to that point, I've been going through it a lot. A lot of you guys know that my car has been for sale, not for sale. We love to drive. We're drivers, like you said. Both of us are. I'm never going to give up driving. So when I think about some of these cars, and some of my very, very good friends have built some recently, I love them, but I don't think I'd ever own them because it's not for me. Maybe I got to hit a Powerball or something to be able to sit a museum piece there. Maybe I'm just not there financially, but I just don't see it anyway. I want to drive my stuff. And I know that some of that stuff, this is pushing $1 million. That used to be a Carrera GT. Now Carrera GT is $3 million. But, I don't really want somebody to hit me in a parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, not $1 million on a door ding on a Singer. Absolutely not. So again, like Jaime, I think I am building my dream car. I am building it. It's right behind me. I had to go through a process to get there, but I made that turn when we got back from where did we come back from? Oh, from Gator Crawl.
Gator Crawl.
You're not done.
Yeah.
Ernie's got a set of. Ernie's got a bunch of parts here.
There's a pile of parts right behind you. Kev, the
Oh,
lights. Kev,
wait,
the lights. I'll call you later.
this just in, Ernie's car is available again. Ernie's car is for sale
No, it's
again.
not for sale. It is not for sale. I talked to my wife. I talked to my kids. We made a deal. It's staying. That
Awesome.
car's
It
here
should.
forever.
Good for
It
you.
I
should.
remember when Jaime had the car before he had his yellow car. He was like, "Oh, I don't know. I love this car." And then I came to DRT one year and I was like, "Hey, what happened to your car?" "Oh yeah, I sold it. I got this new one. Check this out, Kevin." I'm like, "What happened, man? You said that you're not going to sell a car." So,
it's so hard to duplicate these builds. Like
because some of the fun is though building a car.
Yeah.
Like, and when you're done, it's kind of like, oh, like I mean, the red car I'm always tinkering with. I have the Weissach. I don't drive it as much because actually I just that, and also too I like tinkering with stuff. I mean, just like you said, I have lights pour off. I get this thing all tore apart over here. I got this.
The red car is cool. We need the prior owner as well. And
Yeah.
That's a very cool car you got.
Yeah,
I'm never getting rid of my 9 and 7. I'm keeping it forever.
It's essentially a new car at this point. After he's ripped it all apart.
Go online and look for some more cool stuff because they're always making cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we're ambassadors, we're curators, we're caretakers of these vehicles. Like how many people are going to get to be the custodian of a 1978 or an 85 that's never been crashed, that's never rusted, that nobody's ever pulled holes out of, that we know of? That this thing is as she came from the factory with 360,000 miles. That's why she has her own room. She's babied. She lives in air conditioning. I caress her because she deserves it. Nobody will ever build her again. This can't be duplicated. You can buy 1 million tubs and build 1 million Singers if you want. You really can't. You can't build this. You can't build your car. You can't build his car. You can't build James's car. You can't build a 914 again. It just can't be done. Nobody's making those.
I think we're building cars for this, not to use the cliche word of sport purpose, right? But at least the guys that I know, right? And maybe that I'll throw a topic out there after this is we're building these sport purpose cars for what we want to drive, right? I think the most fun we have is rallying. That also includes a social component in all those trips that we do, which take time, and we have, if we're not having a good time, believe me, we're not going. It's an effort. It costs money to go. For some guys, it's a big commitment. For us, it's a long ways. Kevin, you as well. I'll spring into this topic. I think sometimes and in Miami, I'll say this: we have a great air-cooled community. We do.
Large.
It's large. For a town that has no roads, we basically have one road that everybody goes to the Keys and has a breakfast place. We have I think the last drive that Charles Stanley was actually here, we had 50 something cars.
Wow.
Wow. Impressive.
Just air-cooled cars. It's called the Air-Cooled Breakfast Club. And that's a lot of people. But talking to those guys are intrigued of us going on these trips. They see my Instagram, they see Ernie's, they see Charles's and so forth. And a lot of the guys ask me all these questions like, man, you guys take these trips? I'm like, yeah. And I think a lot of it is there are some guys that have this fear of, and I'm not talking about fear of like, getting the car rock chip, even though that probably does play a part in it. But I remember this one guy asking me, he's like, what happens, dude? Do you guys break out there? I'm like, I don't know. You just figure it out. You're out there with a group of people, nobody's going to leave you out there stranded.
Yeah, no man left behind.
No man left behind.
We fix all cars. We tow all cars. We'll call Billy Joe Bob, the local tow guy. We'll pull you off the side of a mountain. We'll pull you off the side of a mountain if we need to.
Get a flatbed. Yeah.
And it was I'll tell you, when I found out about Target, Carolina, and it was me. That was definitely me. And I drove Ernie crazy. I was Ernie, we got to meet this guy at Amelia, remember?
Yeah, you were telling me we were going to go meet a stranger, and I told you there was danger in that and that we shouldn't. Yeah. And now we're best friends with Charles Stanley. I was like, what do you mean? Who is this guy? Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to go meet some random guy at Works. He's like, we're going because we're going to his rally. Yeah. I said,
It was a small rally then.
As you say, we're a couple. I was like, all right, whatever. Whatever makes you happy, honey.
Yeah.
And I went off Charles Stanley.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I would encourage people, you know, we talked to Matt and stuff like that, and Casey, the other guy that's on our podcast. I can say that seeing a lot of things, like for me, seeing Mike go on a lot of these rallies and how much fun he talked about it and stuff, and now me being a part of it too, I would tell you I probably have more fun, even though I met James and Matt and Casey through the air water cooled rally. It's definitely different, and you guys have been on water cooled rallies as well. It's just a different feel. You're driving an old car. You don't have to go as fast, but you feel
you don't
like
have
you're
to go as
driving.
fast to get that feeling, right? Like,
Mhm.
you get that rush when you look down. You're like, man, this is like Toyota Corolla speed, but
Yeah, I know.
90 miles per hour.
Let's just
But
say
that,
everybody can hear it. Sometimes the male lady in the Forerunner beats us up the mountain. We're not afraid to admit this. Okay?
I
love it.
We're local and we're not.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Or
And we know that male lady too.
or the pickup truck, or the pickup trucks just leading us.
that F-250.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Stop garbage truck this year.
Yeah, but you know the thing is with that speed, you know, you're taking it to a level that is quick for the car without anti-lock brakes, without power steering, without you need to you find that comfort line and you don't cross it. You can push your car, but you know shit can happen if you
Oh, it gets
Quickly.
real.
Yeah.
It gets real quick.
Yeah.
We've been there.
there's a post that I made from West Virginia this year, right, where I put a video of us driving, and it was a slow line drive, and it's that moment where it's that Friday morning, right, or could be the Saturday morning drive. In this case, I don't remember what day it was, but the important part is that we're all driving and we're all just, our cars are getting warmed up. We're driving slow. We know we're going to hit the mountain soon, and everybody's just becoming one with the car. At least that's my mindset. My mindset is, all right, am I in the seat right? Am I, do I hear anything? I'm getting ready, because we know we're going to, once we
you
make
know
that
what's
turn,
coming.
we're going to rip it.
Yeah.
And that's the part where you get to the group. And Kevin, you haven't been blessed to be part of our group, but we would love to have you soon. But our group, and that's, I think, what's tightened this bond up. We met at a rally and we were thrown in a group like, hi, my name's Dave, my name's James, I'm Ernie, I'm Jaime, and here we are. And we found 4 guys that literally can run probably 24 inches off each other's fenders in a mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing exactly what the other one's going to do. And these other guys from other groups jump in and they get in our way, and we get real pissy about it. Like, real nasty.
And then we leave them.
I'm like, yo, I can drive at 9/10 of my capacity if James is in front of me.
Yeah.
I don't even care if his brake lights aren't
Right.
working. I know what he's going to do.
It's going to go deep.
And I know what Jaime's going to do. You know what I mean? He's going to go short. This James is going to go short. That one's going to go deep. I already know.
Yeah.
So whoever's in front of me, I just look at the tail end of their car and I can tell the attitude of the car, the way it flows. When you get into that rhythm, it's such a beautiful thing. It's really like a choreographed dance.
And it's so funny how we just naturally line up in this order. It's
Correct.
just this. It's always this order.
And we can play with it a couple. There's a couple of us that can swap.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the core 4 or 5 is always the same. And we try to bring others, new ones with us right behind.
I think
that way
Frankie has fit in real good.
Frankie's been an awesome fit.
Frankie rips. Frankie rips.
Yeah, that guy's out of control.
Frankie
Never
rips,
mind that guy.
so
He's to the front of the line.
So.
Yeah, I did find that. I went with James and Dave to Ruckus last year, and it was the same thing. Like, we know each other personally, so we feel comfortable. We had a group of people that, hey, can we join in with you guys? Yeah, sure. And we were group number 2. We had the Hot Boys, which we all know, and Mike and Todd and them. So they wanted to go, and then I went with James, and we went to the stop, and okay, we're going to go again. And we're like, where did everybody go? And it was literally 4 of us. And we had like 10 cars. And they're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to go meet with, we're going to meet with, we're just going to hang out with somebody else. And we're like, okay, fine. And then I went, because I wanted to see, that was my first air-cooled rally. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go with Mike and them. And it's funny because, James was like, so are you just going to hang out with Mike? I'm like, no, I'm going to see, where I want to do and where I want to ride. and my cars are 3.2. You know, these guys all have 3.6s and 3.8s and stuff like that. So I felt better for me in my power band riding with, you know, James has a 3.2, and I think
Dave has a 3.2. Yeah.
Yep. So I felt better, and then Liam has a, you know, what, 2.7?
2.7.
2.7.
He's got a 2.7, and then 2 feet.
Rips.
There's 2 feet to go faster.
You know,
But
Yeah.
he rips in that thing. He
He
can
does.
keep
Yes.
up. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The displacement sometimes I've chased. I mean, I've chased in my 3.8. I've chased
The
2.7.
914.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
914, our first rally.
Oh, I'll tell you
Yeah.
this great story.
You gotta
Go ahead.
take up the whole time.
Man, two
No,
seconds.
it's fine.
No,
Go.
it's fine.
A great story. So I told you guys I do this thing. I stock Charles Stanley. We get into Target, Carolina, and we do the first trip. So we fly in. We drove in.
We drove into Rhodes Scholars.
We had a 2-car hauler and my big F-250, and we drove into Rhodes Scholars, got our cars out. Hey, we're ready. And we leave it was in Blowing Rock that year. We leave to Blowing Rock. And just about before we get to Blowing Rock, pulled into a gas station. And when Udo comes up, one of the guys comes up, he says, hey guys, we're going to take a little detour. It's going to take a little longer to get to the hotel, but it's going to give you a little taste of what tomorrow's like. And you guys are, we were excited, right? We're
like,
yeah,
we're doing this.
This is great.
We're going to do this.
We're doing this.
We're big men. We have Porsche.
We're doing this. Remember,
Get ready.
before that, we're a Florida boys. We're just straight line guys. It's all we know, right? So we hit, I think 226A was what we hit.
Oh.
It was
boy.
226A, and they dropped hammer. Cam Ingram in an RS, 155. And I'm like, oh.
We could not. I mean, I couldn't even shift right. I was all over the place. My braking was off.
Me too.
We get to the hotel, and I tell Dirty, hey, dude, I think.
Well,
Really?
My answer was, you think we're gonna
So,
get killed out here?
Funny
We're
story.
gonna die.
Fast forward. So the next morning, wake up, and we're meeting at a mall because that's where it was. It wasn't that many
It
cars.
was at the Tanger outlets right across from the Chatola on Blowing Rock. I know
Wait.
you know where we're at here.
Yeah.
The big
They're
open.
finishing each other's sentences, by the way.
Hey, brother, we know each other's stuff. So we get there. Hey, so I look around, and I tell Ernie, dude, we're gonna follow this guy with the 914. Granted, it's a 914.6, but we're gonna Bills.
I go down, pretend I'm tying my shoes. I look at the tires, bicycle tires.
They're this.
I look at them. I go, good job. That's the guy.
That's the
you
guy.
got it. Bicycle
Argue
tires.
guy.
I got him. I'm in a 964.
Dude,
He's dead.
I'm in a 3.8, brother. 993. We got this. This guy's in a 964. All right. Hey, Bill, can we? Yeah, you guys can follow me.
Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons.
All of a sudden, Bill's gone.
Gone.
Can't keep him.
The group is 10 people. Bill's 8. He's 9. I'm 10. I was crying like a little baby. I'm like, I can't find anybody. I got left behind. And all of a sudden, here, we got you guys.
Where's
Just
Miami
keep
guys?
coming.
Where's Miami guys?
Keep coming, Miami guys.
It took a minute, man.
So embarrassing.
It took a minute.
So
I'm not gonna lie to
embarrassing.
you.
So we went from chasing bicycle tires to hot and spicy. So we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Absolutely.
We
That's
made it.
awesome.
It did take a minute.
It
But
takes
And
time.
that's, I will say, that's the thing too about running. I think just a Porsche atmosphere of the people, like nobody ever, I've never had anybody, and we've had some great drivers, and they're always the most friendly, and they're like, hey, you should have done this. No, I've never had anyone be an asshole about it or be like, hey man, you're a terrible driver. They all know that they started from somewhere, and even if we all come from Florida and stuff, we have a lot of fast Florida drivers now. So and being, I guess, racing other cars and stuff like that, there is sometimes that, like, oh, even when you go to the track, like when I go to the track and you start out and intermediate, and then even when you go to blue and stuff, people always say, hey, you should come, come. Very, very friendly group of people, and we all like to drive the cars, whereas I wouldn't say that. And I mean, I've been to other events, and there's like BMW events, and me and James were talking about that on the last podcast. Like, we never really see, when we go to the mountains, you may see a couple BMWs or a couple, but you don't ever see like, mostly we see Mustangs, like a Mustang group or Jeeps.
Correct.
Miatas.
And Miatas.
Yes.
In Miatas, yeah.
By the way, we're thinking about starting a Miata gang. You heard it here
Okay.
first.
All right.
Unos. Unos.
Well, I guess you can get Chad in there, because that guy can drive his Miata, because he rode with us at at
Farron.
With the bills on the cars and all that, we're like, we're gonna start a Miata. It's a lot cheaper. You're gonna see when I have pocket change left over in our pockets.
Small numbers for guys like us, some Miatas, man. You know.
Yeah.
So, all right,
Matt, do you have any questions?
I don't. I'm just I do have one statement, and that's for Jaime. Listen, I'm in Orlando. If you need someone to put some miles on that 993, I will gladly come down and just drive it for you.
Yeah.
I like your moves, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I like it.
Well, here's the reality. I love my 997. It's what I could afford at the time. And at some point, I will have an additional car. I'll have an air cooled, but it's not today. I just have a kid who just got out of college and one.
Do you have a 914 now, or is it your?
No. I keep joking. I said if I get into air cooled, the 914 is about my only way in at this point.
Yeah.
So because even Targets,
it's a great car to drive.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace today, new post Targa, $85,000. Now, granted, it was really nice, well kept there, but they went 85 for it. Everything just keeps going up. Just crazy.
For those guys that
know, we already said believe me, when it came, we sent it to all of us. Matt,
but it's
$20,000.
Quite pricey for a 914. But I will say, I saw it.
It's a Pedro car.
Really cool car.
It's a very cool car. You can still get okay ones for 15 to 16. If you want a really well sorted one, it's gonna be around 28. So that'll probably be my end of the air cooled world. So
Matt lost it when he saw some of the photos from Gator Crawl and he saw that 914.
The 914 in the back, yeah.
Oh my God,
that was a really nice car.
That car was so cool.
Yeah,
very cool car.
What do you guys take? What's your guys' take on the? We're seeing a lot of people now get into 928s, 944s. Have you guys thought about getting it, or are you guys strictly 911 guys?
I mean, I was a transaxle car. I had a 944 that it wasn't called hot rodding it back then, but I souped it up. I did as much as I could for that. It was really a car that was more geared towards driver's ed. I drove it, but it was really I had it really for a PCA driver's ed. I think they're great. I mean, 50-50 weight distribution. I was out there in those years with brand new boxers, right? And I was right on their tail in this car that I had paid. I think I paid $2,000 for that car.
I don't think a 944 is a slouch at all. I wouldn't mind having one, and especially a track one, a turbo in any way, shape, or form. My whole problem is garage space, So there's other priorities in my life. Not that I have anything against them. I think they're awesome. I think I'd need a big old barn dominium to be able to accommodate everything I want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the only thing holding us all back, right?
Yeah, I have a 3
barn dominium in the mountains. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out of space as well.
So before you close out, what are you guys wearing tonight?
Yeah, what's the watch situation over there?
So we had this joke. I'm really lazy and I never go to my watch box very much. So I've been wearing my SKX from last week. I'm still wearing it this week. So on my dress.
Well, nothing.
What?
Oh,
you failed, dude. You failed.
Did I just found the whiskey watches and wheels and there's no watches?
Lack of effort.
Man, I even went to the bathroom and took off my Garmin watch and put on the Seamaster GMT for you.
Good for you. That's worse than Casey rolling out with the Apple Watch.
That's a first for you, James. That really is a first.
I literally just left today and didn't even think about it, and then it was one of those oh shit moments. And,
where's Paul and who's in charge of you?
Yeah, I can dress myself, but I'm trying to distance myself from those watches because I think some of them are going to go away.
Kevin, what were you showing us?
Let's see.
Kevin?
Oh yeah, see if I can. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
So I have an original Arnie Seiko. It's called an Arnie because of Arnold Schwarzenegger wore this watch for Commando, for Predator, a lot of his movies in the 80s. So as you know, you guys listen to the show, Seikos have a lot of, just like a Rolex, like, Hulk, Starbucks, they have them too as well. And because of James, I got into Seikos. So this watch is an Arnie and, you have Bruce Lee's and stuff like that. So today I was actually like, okay, what am I going to wear? I also, for me, having a machine shop and stuff, I don't get to wear, for one, I'm always on a computer and stuff and you're scratching things up and, there's a lot of times I'm moving around machines and in the fab shop. I'm not doing, like, I'm not out there doing stuff, but, you know, just in a shop. And like yesterday, I was playing around with a car and clink, and I was like, oh, crap. And granted, it was nothing special watch, but still, I do find myself taking my watch off a lot when I'm around the shop, because I don't want to
get it.
damage the
That's my
watch.
situation when I'm around the boats. You know, I unfortunately, my daily is a Garmin, you know, active captain watch that connects to my boat and syncs with all my
Right.
equipment and clients' boats because I can see updates for the machines on my watch. But yeah, I got sick and tired of scratching, denting, bumping all my stuff. So I'm the same way. I daily the Garmin, and when I come home, I swap them out.
And Jaime, what are you wearing?
So I'm
All reliable.
old reliable.
All reliable.
I'm wearing. I even made a note on it. So no,
God knows.
I love it. He came prepared.
16700 GMT that I got in '97. So I've owned it 29 years.
There you
go.
Yeah.
You hold it up for us?
Yeah.
This is sexy patina time.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's really the only watch. I really only wear it when I drive.
Oh yeah.
It's got a, you know, the bezel is ghosted out, and it was given to me by my dad. So I really kind of wear it. It's the watch that I always wear when I'm on a rally or I'm driving. You know, I daily a newer, just regular no date sub. But I also was going to tell you guys, you know, since we're also about watches, is in 1988 I was chasing a Rolex Submariner, but I didn't have two nickels to rub together. And no internet back. I mean, there was very little, and I think it was AOL. But somebody tells me about this brand Tudor, right? And they show me a sub 7928 1969, which is my birth year. Not the reason I got the watch. I got the watch because I got a part-time job at a really cool Porsche dealership when I was a kid. I was a young kid through my dad. One of the guy's sons was a watch crazy. You know, the guy was a watch crazy.
Of course.
And he had this.
That's where I bought my CRX, by the way.
And he told me, I'll sell it to you for $200.
Wow.
I don't have $200. He says, all right, well, you pay me $25 a week. And I paid the watch $25 every week till I got to 200. He didn't give it to me. And then after I get the last payment, he
awesome.
gave me the watch. So I've owned that watch now 37 years.
You still have it too. You still the Tudor.
I still have it. Yeah,
and those are
not
great
going
too.
anywhere.
They have the rose on the crown. I mean, those are beautiful watches. Yeah,
it is the rose crown, correct? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And
that's never leaving.
It's in the car. I forgot it in the car, but it is a great. It's a really cool watch it's probably one of the longest things I've owned. You know, it was one of those that it went in the sock drawer for many years. You know, as you make a little money and you upgrade, you know, you get a more modern sub and you forget about that, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, this is cool now. You know, that kind of thing. And reality is, years ago I was like, is this even worth money? I think my brother-in-law wore it for like 5 years. You know, he wore, remember?
Yeah.
He wore it for like 5 years and then gave it back to me, you know? And I just put it in a sock drawer. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm looking on eBay and man, these things are like 10 grand. I'm like, what? You know? So yeah, but it, you know, it wasn't really the value. It's more, you know, now it's just one of the longest things that I, you know, and in general.
And I'm sure it has, not only does it have story, but I'm sure it has some nice patina to it as well.
It does. It's ghosted out.
And you guys collect watches as well, or no?
You know, I wouldn't say I go as far as collecting watches, but I was lucky enough to inherit some watches from my dad when he passed. Star of that is a 6263 Daytona that he paid $750 for at Riviera Jewelers here, a place in the Gables. And you know, and then other, you know, more, you know, I got a few. I'm really kind of like a Rolex Tudor guy, and not because it's the name Rolex or you know, and I wore Tudors daily because it threw everybody off. People didn't know what a Tudor was. Now I think, you know, people really know. But before, everybody was like, what? And I'm like, yo, it's made by Rolex. And they're like, oh, they look at you funny. And, whatever. You know, I got a Pelagos. So I would say that, you know, I've been lucky enough to get a few watches. I don't know, you'd call me a collector, but yeah.
Yeah.
They're great. I mean,
far from a collector. I've got a couple of Seikos. I got one Seiko mod. I don't know model numbers, boys. I'm not that technical. What's the Seiko I sent you today that I have? I have it there.
Yeah, I forgot.
I don't know. You guys
Where are
fine.
your
Don't worry
notes,
about it.
Ernie?
It's fine.
I didn't prepare. I'm sorry. So I've got an 85 Speedmaster, which is the crown jewel of my collection.
Nice.
Even though I do have an all white full platinum Yachtmaster with a platinum face,
That's good.
which is
Yeah.
because I sell boats and stuff like that. So I've got those. I got another Speedy. I got this 1999 Seamaster G. Hold on,
You've had that for a while.
GMT. I've had it since 2000. I was able
Nice.
to buy it in 2000, and Omega made me a deployment class for it.
It's nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Do you have a watch that you wear for rallies, or you just whatever
I wear my
you have?
Speedmaster.
Okay.
I wear my Speedmaster here. You guys will be able to tell me better what this is, but that's one of
Blue?
my Seikos from the Keys.
It's
Nice.
a Prospex.
Yes.
Nice.
Don't
It's
know.
a blue
It's a
Seiko.
turtle. It's a turtle.
Yeah, I
See
think
where
you're
the
right.
It
Yeah.
is.
yeah,
It is.
It is?
yeah, it's
Is that
a
good?
Prospex turtle. Yeah,
Is that good?
of
Yes.
course it's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good watch.
So
I have the same watch, only black and gold. It's like straight from the
that's very
80s,
cool. I've
baby.
seen that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have an SKX
Yeah.
that the minute I get to the keys, my house, boom, SKX goes on. You know?
That's the right move right there.
So we were talking about this last week. The reason I'm still wearing my SKX was the time has been off just a little bit, but so I've been wearing it for like a week because sometimes if you just wear them consistently for like a week, it irons itself out, and it's still about 5 minutes off a day. So I told the guys I think it's probably somehow, some way got magnetized. So I bought a demagnetizer today on Amazon. Try that tomorrow. If not, it's going to the shop to get serviced.
Yeah.
So
And are you guys going? So will you guys be at Ruckus?
We will.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll be
Well,
at
then
Ruckus. We'll be at
Are
Target.
you going to Ruckus, Kevin?
I will be at Ruckus. Yes.
Yeah. Ruckus is going to be a ruckus. I'm going to tell you that.
And has Targa came out yet?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Not yet.
Yeah, because that's in September.
Yeah. Rucolos registration is this coming Friday.
Where are they doing that at?
Snowshoe.
Back to Snowshoe?
Now, different. They're in West Virginia, but a different location. So it's not at Snowshoe this year. So they had to move it because I don't think Snowshoe was being friendly with them.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
It's tough. That's the next thing I'm seeing with all our rallies. We're getting too big and seem to be causing a ruckus, for lack of a better word, in certain towns where it seems like it's getting more harder and harder to drive. I mean, everybody's talking about it. Gator Crawl was extremely tough to drive this year.
Yeah, and the development that's going on there, we talked a bit about that. That's really tough. But if you're going up in the mountains and stuff, it's also getting busy. So many people are moving to the mountains and taking advantage of the
Saturday.
Yeah,
Saturday, there's a lot of people on the road. I'm all for moving these things Thursday, Friday, and off by Saturday.
Well, I think Targa is going to be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this year.
yeah, right. Because it's
that makes sense.
it's pairing up with Luft
coming to
Luftgekalt
allowed to say that
in Durham.
Are we endorsed already?
I was approved to softly
the Luft gods.
There you go. So
come down and descend upon us.
yes.
Yeah.
No cease and desist orders.
And hopefully,
Boy,
as
out of the bag, we're going to Luft, baby.
I'm booked. Our hotel's booked.
yeah, and hopefully, I was telling some of these guys too. Maybe some of the guys start thinking about going to Kentucky and other areas, not just in Tennessee, different parts of Tennessee. In West Virginia, for us, as you know, like I look at it, I'm like, I mean, I bought myself a Volkswagen Touareg, so I could trailer my car because all I have is a transit van and I have a 4Runner and then Porsches. So I was like, well, I need something to trailer these cars because it's
Shipping
just getting
Shipping.
And I think
ridiculous.
eventually. I've been talking to Chad, and hopefully he's listening. Maybe he can light a fire. Hey, maybe getting something, looking at some property up in Tennessee that I could leave a car there because, like for us, it's so. I'll be paying for it. So
I think half of Miami is looking for places to buy in the mountains to leave their cars. Right.
When you look at my Zillow, I got like 25
this guy sends
farms.
me every week. He's like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" I'm like, yeah.
Our fight is that 100 acres and Honey doesn't want 100.
No, you don't want that. You want something small and Also, you don't want to be out in the boonies where, hey, you go there. Oh, where's my car? Oh yeah, someone broke into it 6 months ago.
2-bath and a 6-car garage.
So I'm gonna
Amen. I'm right there with you.
make a little corner for him with a two-car garage with 2 bedrooms, and he can spend.
Oh, if we're not sharing, then I don't need a 2-bedroom. I need a 1-bedroom.
All right, you get a 1-bedroom. Well, we need one for James and Dave.
And are you guys going to be at Amelia?
What's
Will
that?
you guys be at Amelia?
I will not.
I will. I'll be at Amelia.
Okay.
You never go, Ernie.
I went 3 years in a row at the very beginning of our Porsche excursion, and I haven't been able to. The dates get kind of tough because it is my high season right now. This is peak snowbird season for homes and boats and everything. I just came out of boat show last weekend. I've got another boat show this coming weekend. So it's just a lot going on for me.
Okay.
I'd rather put Ruckus on the calendar and work all the way to May, and then we can hang out after that.
Are you guys doing Amelia?
Yes, we'll all be there.
So you guys, Cars and Community, look for a green Defender 90, an old one.
Mm-hmm.
Come have breakfast. I'm gonna have
Shameless plug with your wife. It's your wife's car.
Yes,
Right?
but it's your wife's car.
serving mimosas out of the back. I'm gonna have nice chairs. Her car got accepted into Cars in Community there on Saturday. I'll be at Works. I haven't decided if I'm taking my my yellow car yet.
Our first podcast was at Amelia. In the P-Car house.
Yep.
You were there, Kevin, weren't you?
Yeah.
At the house on the beach, or we did it downstairs underneath?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
RMC was there, and then us. Yeah, good time.
Yeah, that was a good time. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, I'll be there. Well, I'm sure we'll run into each other at Works, and then Saturday.
Yeah, so I'll be in the judging area because I'm bringing the Wysock.
Okay.
So
Nice.
Dave.
We hung out last year. I went kamikaze last year. I went Thursday night. I just told my wife, "Hey, I'm going to Amelia." She said, "You're gonna drive now?" I'm like, "Yeah." I drove, and then I was next to you guys on the highway, you and Aaron, and I was.
No, that's right. We're taking pictures of you.
Yeah. and then just came back I left at 1 after Works, But this year,
because it was raining and it was shitty and stuff like that. So.
I'm staying this year. This year we're staying. So we're
At
we're
the
doing
Omni.
What was that?
Staying at the Omni. Did you get a
I'm
place
staying
there?
at the Omni this year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you guys have anything else?
Not.
Hey,
good.
thanks.
But then Jamie, we'll see you in 2 weeks. I think it is.
Yeah.
3 weeks. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
March 6th through the end or something like that.
Yeah, it's only a couple weeks away.
In 9 weeks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey,
Well,
thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, it was an absolute pleasure. Pleasure meeting you.
Nice meeting you guys as well. Thank you for having us.
All right.
Yeah.
All
So
right. All right. So those listening, thank you very much for tuning in. Catch us on our website, whiskeywatcheswheels.com, and we will catch you guys on the flip flop later.
Bye-bye.